So, when thinking about the students that come to South Primary and their mental health needs, what we're seeing is that the adverse childhood effects that are happening outside of our school system are impacting them potentially negatively on their academic careers. And so, our goal at South Primary is to partner with Refuge in order to help support them in their needs and get to the root causes of what really is being outwardly displayed in their emotions whenever academic tasks are before them.
We've faced a collective crisis with COVID, and that has created both a mental health crisis and a crisis at the schools, especially because I work with younger children, how some of them may have not gotten the early exposure to social emotional learning and academics that historically children have gotten. They're also coming from a very stressful time in the lives of adults. And that stress on the household, the stress on the caregiver, that understandably so has impacted the whole family dynamic.
My youngest son, Jace, had some issues at school with behavior. If he didn't want to do something that they were asking him to do, as far as like putting a coloring book away, because it was time to move on to the next subject, he would throw a fit. He would throw chairs. He would run into the hallway and scream into the hallway and disrupt other children. And he had been through some traumas and things that we thought that it was best if he could maybe talk with someone.
When you think of trauma, it's such a big word, and you're afraid sometimes to comment or mention that that's the definition of what someone is going through. And so when we think about the population of students that we have at South Primary, trauma is all-encompassing on very different levels, but addiction, abuse, loss, those are the key ones that I believe that we see at South Primary.
We have those children that externalize and those children that internalize. And so, say you have a child that is living in survival mode, it's almost impossible for them to access the part of the brain that they truly need to learn their academics, to learn even just their letters, their numbers, those basic foundational steps. If their mind is stuck in survival mode, then, we have to help them regulate before we can expect them to reason, before we can expect them to learn.
When I see our students face trauma and the effects that they have, it feels like the family's been engulfed with chaos. And so our systems break when it comes to that feeling or that emotion. So little things that we may take for granted in just transporting our students back and forth to school, or what the day is going to look like whenever they get home from their school environment, it's all encompassing, and we're finding that families are really working on basic needs and how to have those provisions over their life. So education can often be prioritized lower on their ranking, if you will, to where basic needs are the highest and education kind of falls short because they're just trying to make it through the day or through whatever trauma or chaos is brought upon their lives.
And so there's lots of children and lots of families that are really needing support right now. And what I think is great about our school-based program is that we truly are able to meet them where they are at. And so some families might be so overwhelmed with the day-to-day that the thought of getting to another appointment feels overwhelming. And so by incorporating the treatment into their school day really helps alleviate some of that stress, and it enables us to support families and support children that may otherwise not get that support.
Refuge is able to come in on a bad day and sit with him and talk with him, get him to calm down, and just give the support of talking to him.
I was so excited to have Refuge join us full time, but Refuge is an extended layer for us and a partnership that really gets to the root of what our children are facing and then helps us in a way that we don't have that to provide our students. To have a Refuge therapist in every single building is not only innovative, but I also believe beneficial and critical for our students to have success in the future.